All right, everybody, the collab, the partnership that no one expected. We have finally gotten Michael on the channel. I know a lot of you have commented, dude, Sean, get Michael on the channel. You guys would hit it off so well. It would be such a great experience. And I was like, you know what? I listened to my people. And yeah, we have Michael on. We also did a video on his channel as well, previewing Iran, because of course, I love talking about Iran and putting myself through absolute mental torture thinking about this national team and hoping that great success can come from them. But the premise of this video, before we introduce Michael and let him say hi to you all, is we're going to go through every single Asian national team's group for this World Cup and talk about one positive and one negative. It doesn't have to be concrete. We might agree with each other. We might not agree with each other. But Michael is one of our fellow Asian football compatriots that just loves the game of Asian football as much as we do. So I thought this would be a fun video to have him on. But Michael, thank you so much for coming on and doing this video, because I know you just love talking about every single national team, and I know you're going through a long stretch of videos yourself.
Yeah, it's a grueling process right now, but after this, I'm gonna take a hiatus. I'm gonna go to, I don't know, Mongolia or Bhutan, and I'm just gonna just worship and be a monk for a couple months after this until the Asian Cup in January 2027, and then obviously the content will be back. But thank you very much for having me on the channel, and of course, this is a big World Cup for the Asian teams. Let's see if they're gonna perform, and they're in very difficult groups, I would say.
Yeah, 100%. I did a video, if you guys all watched it, with Ezok, where we kind of ranked easiest to hardest groups, and for the most part there's maybe one national team you could argue that is in a group of life, but we'll obviously get into that. So we're going to start, I'm pretty sure this is in chronological order, so if it's not, either way I got all the national teams, so people don't complain. We're going to start with Group A. So we're going to be highlighting South Korea, and they are in a group with Mexico, South Africa, and Czechia. And I'll let you get this one. Take it away. Positive and negative for South Korea going into this World Cup.
South Korea can be very lucky that they're in this group, in all honesty. And I think a lot of South Koreans said that when the draw happened that, wow, we got given life here. Because South Korea always seemed to get difficult groups. Last time was Portugal, Uruguay. Then 2018 was Germany, Sweden, Mexico. So obviously they have some familiarity with Mexico. But the vibes right now with the national team is not good. You think Iran and the national team is toxic. I've seen it all the time with you guys in World Cup qualifiers. The Korean national team and the fans, the disconnection is at an all-time high. And I think I'm very worried defensively what they do. They don't know what system to play right now. Of course, a massive positive for them is that they probably have the superpower, team and the talent compared to the other teams. Like, no other team has a Lee Kang-in, who's arguably could start for Liverpool and other teams around Europe. The guy is an absolute sensational player. They have so many good attacking players. That's South Korea's sort of strong put is they have that individual quality, but the weakness is they have not been playing like a team since the World Cup qualifiers. It's just been negative, negative. The horrible performance against Cote d'Ivoire, somewhat better performance against Austria. So I am quite worried for South Korea at this World Cup. I think a lot of people looking at the team, people who don't really follow Asian football, they're like, oh, yeah, this team can finish second. I can't lie. I think they might finish last.
Yeah, when I did my recent preview, I was a little bit worried about South Korea as well. When I did my World Cup group stage predictions, I'll probably end up doing one more before the World Cup starts. Third video talking about it. But when it comes to South Korea, I completely agree with you. I think a big positive for them is, unlike with other national teams, they have the biggest star powers of all star powers in Asia, in my opinion. And I think that is what could be the difference for them. But the problem is there does seem to be a disconnect with this team, and including with their coach. I mean, yes, arguably one of the greatest defenders in Asian football history and a South Korean football legend, but he hasn't found a recipe for success with them. And he's had time, and it's just kind of been like since qualifying, like you could see the wheels started falling off once South Korea was close to qualifying, because obviously they had some results that started slipping once they, like, they saw the promised land. And then the friendly matches, I know fans, like South Korean fans, aren't fond of Sun going to LAFC. At first, I thought it was a really good move because he was on a sensational form with Buanga. And I was like, at the end of the day, that's all that really matters, in my opinion. But he's not even having a good year this year in MLS with LAC. I don't even think has a goal yet.
Sorry, I don't mean to cut you off, but I've heard a lot of people say that he looks really slow now as well.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. He hasn't looked good this year. I'm saying when he joined, he hit like
Yeah,
a
yeah, yeah.
rocket. Yeah, it was. I was like, okay, no, I actually think this is a pretty solid move, and like he's already in the U.S. He's going to be acclimated, things like that, and that's would be my positive is you guys have the star power. So yes, like I think it is just a flip of a switch. If you guys can really just get it on point, I think they can still do well. The problem is they've kind of dug themselves in a little bit of a hole now going into this World Cup. And now I'm at a point where I'm pretty teeter-tottering to I think there's some slight cause for concerns here. But I
I
think
think major
yeah,
concerns,
yeah.
considering also that set piece wise, they're not the best defensively, and Czechia are arguably the best
Monsters.
set piece team at this World Cup. I
Yeah.
think they scored 10 set piece goals in UEFA World Cup qualifiers, if I remember correctly, when I checked the stats out. So I really do like stylistically, Mexico at home, they're going to be monsters. Obviously, do Mexico have the best team? No, but at home, that's going to give them a huge benefit. South Africa and South Korea, that will probably be the most entertaining game. But stylistically, Czechia is a horrible matchup for South Korea. Horrible.
I know Czechia is going to be a fun, like it's going to be so interesting. I'm very bullish on Czechia in this group, but yeah, no, I completely agree with you. It definitely makes things a lot. There's a lot more question marks for South Korea in Group A. But now moving on to Group B, because I think this one will be very quick and easy to talk about. We're talking about Qatar, who are in a group with Canada, Bosnia and Herzegovina, and Switzerland. I think I will go first because I'm going to rip this off like a band aid and I talk about it in every single video. There's no hope for Qatar. Going to keep it a buck, but the biggest positive for them is Akram Afif, maybe Almoz Ali, to the moon they go.
Yeah, I have nothing else to say. I mean, the fact that they conceded, what was it, 25 goals, I think it was in the third round of Asian World Cup qualifiers. You think they're going to stop Canada? Well, depending on if Canada don't suffer any more injuries. You think they're going to stop Czechia? You think they're going to stop Switzerland? That defense is ass cheeks. And that's with capital letters, ass cheeks. They are so
That's the
bad.
nicest way to put it.
Yeah, it is. Because, while Qatar are back-to-back Asian Cup champions, what was so astonishing is that they were really a good defensive team at that Asian Cup, other than the semifinal against Iran, where that was just a very chaotic game. But the regression defensively is just astonishing. And if Akram Afif, by himself, gets a victory for Qatar, I can't lie, he might be a top 10 Asian player of all
I
time
think
at
so
that
too.
point.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I 100% agree with you. And the thing is too, I mean, even though people are not going to agree with us, Akram Afif has that type of profile to do something magical, immaculate, especially against these type of teams. Don't get me wrong. I think Switzerland is the favorite in this group, but Bosnia and Canada have their flaws. And I definitely could see something like that happen in one of those games. So,
So the
yeah.
key for Qatar and probably sort of strength is if they could just keep it sort of one goal, if they could just concede
Keep
one
themselves
goal
in the
and
game.
they keep themselves in the game, and then you have like what they did against UAE in the playoff round was the fourth round of the Asian World Cup qualifiers. They didn't even score from open play. It was two set piece
Set
goals.
pieces, yeah.
So if his delivery is on point from Akram Afif, I mean, just the guy is such a superstar in my opinion. I know he plays in Qatar, and non-Asian football fans will look at him and saying, "Oh, look at this guy. He's got a massive afro." The afro just gives him so much aura.
Aura,
So
yes.
I love Akram Afif, and I hope he has a good World Cup because the last World Cup he was not good either. Well,
No.
you could say that about the whole entire national
Yeah,
team,
I
but
was gonna
especially him.
but to be fair, that should be the baseline. Like to be like, what can we expect from the poor guy if like his team's not good? Like,
Mm.
I don't even know what this. If he can do something, that should be where we're like, wow, that's where we truly praise him at that absurd level because he deserves it if he can do something. But if he doesn't, like honestly, in my opinion too, it doesn't like take anything away from him. I still think he's a great player. It's just like it's fine. Like it's
How
okay. I
shocked
get
would you
it.
be if they kept a clean sheet in this group?
How salty?
No, how shocked would you be?
Oh,
I said.
shocked. Oh yeah, it's like how salty.
How
I would be
salty.
very shocked. I would be incredibly shocked. Though, funnily enough, the one team I can weirdly see it against, if they
It's
did happen,
Canada.
yeah, it's Canada.
Yep. Agreed. Because they sometimes misfire Canada in games, so I
Yeah,
wouldn't be shocked at that either. But yeah, it would still be very, very shocking to see Qatar keep a clean sheet at this World Cup.
100%. Now moving on to the other host nations group, Group D, which features the Asian national team Australia with the USA, Paraguay, and Turkey. I want to see your opinion on this, Michael, because I said this in my World Cup predictions. This is my group of death. I just kind of want to gauge that from you.
I wouldn't say like group of death. I would probably say group of life, that in a sense that anybody can progress out of this group. But the strength for Australia is they don't need to play beautiful football. And one thing they have going right now is that their sort of young stars are in form in Ture and Irakunda. And if Popovic just, I don't know what to expect from Popovic at this World Cup. When I did my preview, I was like, okay, maybe it could be this lineup, but I'm not too sure if Popovic is going to play it. If Popovic just plays the team that is in form and it's the best quality with a guy like Jordan Boss, Irakunda, and Ture, I think Australia are going to once again stun somebody. I don't know which team it will be. Could be the host. But I just think a strength of Australia is they know their identity. Their identity is make it difficult for the opponent, make it physical, be strong on set pieces, and one of the star players up front gets a goal. What is a weakness for them is we don't know what to expect from Popovic. It's his first tournament at a international tournament. Obviously, he won the AFC Champions League with the Western Sydney Wanderers, but that's now I think a decade almost that he won that AFC Champions League. So how will he approach this World Cup? I don't know what to expect. Kind of similar with Pochettino with USA. I don't know what to expect. The two other teams is like they have managers that have been here before. So that's a big worry I have for Australia is I think they have some good quality players. Obviously, you got Jackson Irvine and these sort of guys. I don't know what Popovich is going to do.
Yeah, that was exactly what I was gonna say. I think a lot of people are writing off Australia in this group, but like every time the thing is, I think Australians love that. They want to be written off because every time they're written off, you think about 2014, yes, they didn't get out of the group, but they made that group so interesting. You think about 2018, you think about 2022, everyone wrote them off. Hey, we're gonna do our thing, we're gonna dig deep, we're gonna do it the Aussie way, and we're still gonna get out of this group. And that's what they've done. And I like that about them. And I think also too, they almost play kind of like how we talked about with Czechia. I think they play a system that is worrisome for the likes of Turkey and the US, especially the US. In my opinion, and that's actually that game. Maybe I should go to that game. You guys should let me know in the comments because that's here in Seattle. I could go to that USA
Yeah, pay
Australia game.
$1,500. Have fun, bro. And it's going to be a terrible game. I don't think that's going to be a spectacular showing.
But I think they have, like you said, I love Irakunda. Love him to the hill. He's such a fun player to watch, fun personality, a real rising star in Asian football. It's just, I think they just got to make sure not to get blown. I think Turkey is a clear favorite in this group, but I wouldn't be surprised if Australia can finish second. But you need to play and see how, yeah, as you said, Popovich wants to line this team up because he's kind of an unknown factor. Yes, he was able to ride the ship to get them to qualify because that was his job. And it's kind of in a sense, he's like, oh, damn, I didn't realize I was going to make it this far. Now I got to actually do it at a World Cup. So that's kind of how I view it as well.
I just think they've had too many changes from each window, Australia. Obviously, they're getting some players back from injury like Suter, so that's going to help. But chemistry-wise, is that sort of a weakness for this team that they don't have a lot of repetition with each other? That could be a problem for them.
Yeah, that's true too. And I would hope and I would assume that the thing is like with this Australian team, I do think inherently, if you get what I mean, they have that chemistry. I think the players are very familiar with each other. I think when they get those like maybe 2 or 3 games just together, which they might have before the World Cup starts, because every national team's kind of
Doing that.
preparation and camps are slightly different. But if they can do that, I think hopefully, and I'd assume they can quickly iron those things out. But again, I still think they could be big favorites and my eyes, a dark horse for Asia at this World Cup. I'll go out on a limb with that one. But now
Agreed.
moving on to Group F, which features Japan, which is a lot of people's big Asian national. They are the mainstream media Asian national team, and they're in a group with the Netherlands, Sweden, and Tunisia. Michael, what have you thought about everything surrounding Japan? They are the mainstream. Asian national everyone talks about like, "Oh, I think they'll be a dark horse, this and that." Let's see what you have to say about everything.
Well, I'm not too positive about them. I'm going to be honest because their
Mm.
path is really difficult. Because if even if they finish second or first in this group, they would probably face Brazil, or Morocco, and we know Japan in the knockout stage. It's
No
not
bueno.
great.
No
No
bueno.
bueno. And we saw that at the last Asian Cup. They were pretty bad. Obviously, some Japanese people might say, oh, we shouldn't take the Asian Cup serious. I'm sorry, if you cannot take your own continental tournament serious, that is a disgrace on yourselves. What I worry about Japan is I think they have gotten better to deal with physical teams. I think they really learned their lesson from the Iran and Iraq games at the Asian Cup because since then, you're seeing that they're going up against physical sides like Germany, England, Scotland, and they're doing really well. They're keeping clean sheets. I'm just a little bit worried about are they too overhyped? I think that's my big worry about them is while they are such a good functional team, every player knows what to do. When they get to those pressure moments, will a guy like Kubo step up? Will a guy like Mitoma step up? Will a guy like Ueda step up? Daishi Kamada, Sano in the midfield? Or if Tomiyasu returns into this team, how will his health be? Do they just have that superstar power to get it over the edge in the knockout stage? I think we all can agree that they will probably progress out of this group, whether it's first, second, or third. But if they have to face a Brazil or Morocco, do they have. Yes, it's one thing beating England and Brazil in friendlies. Okay, cool. Take what you will from friendlies, the big takeaways. But this is now the World Cup. Those teams will be ready to beat them. I don't think any team is now underestimating Japan again. No way. If teams have not learned their lesson as of now, they will lose to Japan. I'm just worried. I'm really worried they're getting too overhyped. Is this a tournament too soon, maybe for a guy like Zion Suzuki, who we saw at the Asian Cup was a disaster, but I think he's also progressed a lot as a goalkeeper. Obviously, the strength of Japan is that they have so much quality and they have a bench that can make a difference in a game and functional side. Every player is so tactically astute with when to press, when to keep the possession of the ball, when to progress with the ball. It's such a beautiful team to watch when
Very
they
methodical.
counter. Very methodical, very much just art, I would say. They're kind of Picasso of Asian football. But I don't want to overhype them. I don't think they have enough to beat Morocco or Brazil if they meet them in the knockout stage. I don't.
I mean, especially for people like you, I like, and many other people like Jack, and probably people watching this video. Like, we love talking about Asian football, and like we love talking about because I think the best part about it is kind of like the unknown fact because no one talks about a lot of these national teams, but Japan now, and like it's not Japan's fault because they've just done really great. They're
Oh yeah.
spoken about like now they're not. I talked about it too. They were an unknown quantity, and I think they played to that strength very well. They liked being unknown, like, oh, well, like, oh, Honda, but who cares about Japan? Like, they liked being unknown. They liked being the unknown entity at World Cups and big tournaments. But now they are a very well-known entity. They've won big friendlies. They've been in big national teams. They've done well in World Cups for an Asian team. Now, can they? We've seen too with Moriyasu. You talk about the Asian Cup. Even in the last World Cup, the games were like you would think they can handle it and do fine. He always overthinks it. Always they drop a stinker. I don't know what happens. Like you saw against. How do you go on and beat Spain and Germany, and then you just lay an egg against Costa Rica, who just lost 7-0. Like what? Like and
Yeah.
like even Iran, like they were fine in the Asian Cup, but you also laid an egg against them. Like I know it's my national team, but like you could have probably done better. Like you made Iran, you you kept Kalanoy in his job. That's what you did for us. You made him extend his tenure longer than it needed to be. But as you said with Japan, they are good. They are methodical. They are Picasso. But now can they get over this hump? Now you have expectation on your shoulders. That is what I'm interested about. And I think the biggest flaw for Japan, which is also their biggest pro, in my opinion, is they are such a unit, but they do not have like an X factor. You'd think Kubo would be that guy. You think Matoma could be that guy. You think Ueda could be that guy. But it's like they're almost all too selfless
Mm.
to
They I don't want to bring up a South Korean player, but they would need a Sonny or a Lee Kang-in in this side, I think.
yeah, exactly. exactly. Took the words out of my mouth. So, yeah, that's exactly how I view it as well, for Japan. Now, moving on to Group G, which we can brisk over because we did a video on your channel. We've done a video, multiple videos on my channel. Uh, when it comes to this group, positives, negatives for Iran, I'll be quick about it and we'll see if you have anything else to add on. Positive for Iran, which isn't even to like, for that, like in a sense from them, it's because their group is an opportunity. Their group is life. Their group is a manageable group. Biggest problem for Iran, their defense is terrible. And I think that's been the biggest theme for the most part throughout this video. So I would say those are two very positive negatives. They have an opportunity. We've seen Iran be able to do something. Obviously, that was a little bit more of a primer of Iran, but with their vast experience now at World Cups and with this group of players, can they put it together in a group that is manageable?
I mean, this would be a massive L on Asian football if Iran do not make it out of this group. That's what I will say. I think we kind of talked about positive and weakness of this team, but I think it would be a massive L on them. If you lose to New Zealand, lock it off. Lock it off. Just walk it off, bro. That cannot be acceptable from this national team. So, yeah, it's an opportunity of a lifetime for these players. They got to now just take it. They got to take this opportunity and go with it. You've been given a lifeline. Everybody is laughing at this group from, outside of Asia. They're all being like, oh, look at Belgium. They got another lucky draw in a major competition. Well, Iran, try and change the narrative.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I 100% agree. And same with Egypt, same with New Zealand. And
yes.
And the funny part is like to add on to that point, I like what you said is, yeah, everyone thinks Belgium has a cakewalk. Not to scoff over Belgium, because I still think they could easily destroy Iran. But Iran, you guys could nick a point. You could. It's going to be still a tall order, but you could make some magic happen. Make it interesting. Put yourselves back in that limelight like in 2018 with how you guys played against Spain, Portugal, or even 2014, how you played against Argentina. Just run it back. So, yeah.
Well, the problem is you had Carlos Queiroz at that time.
I know. Prime Carlos Queiroz, I know. And a lot of very prime players, but...
Yes.
Moving on now to Group H, and I think this is a fun one to talk about, which features Saudi Arabia, who are in a group with Spain, Cape Verde, and Uruguay. And I really like this group for Saudi Arabia until... they sacked Hervé Renard. That's my negative because I love that guy. I would, even though he's never coached my national team, I would die on a hill for Hervé Renard. I would love him actually coach Iran too, by the way. But that was my biggest L. I hate it so much that they did that.
I don't know what to expect from Saudi Arabia. I don't think they even know either what to expect. And the fact they're going to host the Asian Cup next year, this has probably been such a chaotic time for the FA and national team because there's just no continuity. It just seems like all of the efforts for the league and obviously to progress the league further and further, getting so many good players, but the national team has taken a dip. I mean, the amount of videos we have seen, right? Mancini leaving during the penalty shootout against South Korea, round of 16. Hervé Renard looking very depressed against Indonesia away. Then Saudi Arabia losing 4-0 at home to Egypt. 4-0 to Egypt without Salah? Boy, this team cannot score a goal right now. Whether it's Al Buraikin or Al Dasari, just nobody can seem to be a consistent goal scorer for this side. Obviously, Saudi Arabia have some talented players like Kanu and Al Dasari in the midfield to Saud Abdul Hamid. I mean, Tambakti. Like, Saudi Arabia have some good players. That's why I think they can be a good defensive team. They can be a good midfield against, other midfields in this group, but how are they going to score a goal? Even if they get a penalty, Al Dasari will miss it. 100%. He will miss it with his penalty shootout record recently. So I do worry for Saudi Arabia. I don't think they're going to progress out of this group, which maybe in hindsight you would say, yeah, it's a very difficult group to progress out of. But with the way Saudi Arabia are going, with so many changes in the managerial role it just seems players are not in form, even though they seem to be doing well club-wise. I can't say club-wise because I don't follow the Saudi Pro League, so I can't say, oh yeah, Tambakti, he's really playing well for Al Hilal. I just can't say that because I don't watch it. What I've seen from this national team in the last couple windows, and even during the Asian World Cup qualifiers, is the team regressing? And it cannot be the case, especially hosting the Asia Cup next year.
I think you took the words right out of my mouth there because you're so spot on. They've put in so much investment. They've gotten so many high profile coaches. Like, and the fact that you're in this mess now before the World Cup, like the memes, as you said, are just absurd with Saudi Arabia. Yeah, you actually had a legitimate shot of maybe getting a third place spot out of this group if you just kind of just like, I don't know, 1 + 1 = 2. Just like do the basic things. Because we've seen Saudi Arabia like, dude, you guys beat Argentina in the last World Cup. How have you guys fallen so far off since then?
It's like after that moment, it's been terrible.
I know, like they thought they won the whole thing, and they're just like, hey, we're out. The Homer Simpson meme walking back into the bush. Like, that's it. So it's
Mm-hmm.
like you even had like a solid opportunity to get third in this group and maybe put yourself in that round of 32 pool. But now I think Cape Verde are licking at their lips and like, ha ha ha, we are alive in this group now. Just don't get destroyed against Spain. Don't get destroyed against Uruguay, and we'll clobber Saudi Arabia. Because if Egypt can do it, we're going in on it too. So it's just like,
I would say though that Saudi Arabia, I think they can match up well against Cabo Verde, but just the ongoing issue is that there is no goal scorers on this team. There is because Cabo Verde are not the best defensive team. I would give the opportunity and the edge to Saudi Arabia, but who on earth is going to score goals on this team? That's the main issue.
or even just having like, and I think what adds on to the issues of being able to score is it almost seems like they don't have a system anymore. I think
Yeah,
that's a
we
big.
don't know what system they're going to deploy at the World Cup now.
That's what I'm saying. Like, and who's gonna be your? Have they confirmed who their coach is gonna be
Yeah,
yet?
I think it's a guy who's been managing in the Saudi Pro League. It's a Greek guy. I haven't checked on him yet because I haven't done my Saudi Arabia preview yet. But
It's
I
just so
don't know
late.
about him either.
That's what I'm saying. There's that unfamiliarity. Like, as someone that had, like, with Iran, like, we sacked our coach before 2022, but we brought in a familiar face of Carlos Queiroz. There was pros and cons to that, even with all that familiarity. I just think it's a dumpster fire for Saudi Arabia. But do we have any positive though? Because we've kind of just grilled them.
I think they were a really good defensive team, and I think they have a good midfield of Kanu and Aldosari. That's like a real positive. If they can just lean onto that, they can frustrate a team like Uruguay. Uruguay are not again the best attacking
Yeah.
team, and they're also in disarray. So there's an opportunity here for Saudi Arabia, but the only way they're going to do it is win 1-0, 1-0 against Cabo Verde and Uruguay, which
Wow.
they could. They
Yeah.
could do that, which is a huge possibility, but I'm just really worried about the attack and how they're going to generate chances.
Yeah, I completely agree. Now, Group I do want to touch upon this group a little bit more because I haven't really talked about Group I at all because I haven't really spoken much about Iraq since they've qualified for this World Cup. So I thought this would be, the group that we add a little bit more emphasis on. And obviously, Iraq is in most people's group of death with France, Senegal, and Norway. Big positive for me with Iraq is, and I'll see if you agree with me on this, is they are playing with they have nothing to lose. They are playing with house money in this group. And I think Iraq loves that. And I think that's a good thing for Iraq because when people count out Iraq, I think that's when you play their best. And I think we even saw that in the playoff. Like all the issues they had trying to get to Mexico to make this happen. And I thought Iraq played a really solid game against Bolivia. Like I was kind of worried for them because Bolivia are a tough CONMEBOL team. Obviously, when Bolivia is playing in Bolivia, they're different gravy, but they're still a good national team from South America. And with all that adversity, they were able to go there and put a good performance out. And I was like, you know what? If Ayman Hussein or Zidane Iqbal just do what they have done with that one half chance that they'll get, that one maybe opportunity they get, I'm a little bullish on Iraq. I think obviously biggest negative is, yeah, their group's a very, very difficult group.
Yeah, a little bit difficult, I would say. I mean, if Iraq even get a point in this group, I think that's a
Positive.
incredible achievement, a massive positive and incredible achievement for this team. I mean, the biggest positive is, yeah, of course, they don't have anything to lose in this group, and they have sort of a calm mindset, and now they can get a lot of pressure because there was so much pressure on this national team during the qualifiers to qualify. So that pressure is off, but they got the manager, man. You might hate the way he plays, you might hate the way he sets up his team, but Graham Arnold gets results all the time. Australia last World Cup, Asia Cup, okay, didn't go so well. He gets results. He guided Iraq. They were a mess under Jesus Casas at the end. He guided them, galvanized them, had to restructure the team, and got them to the World Cup. So they have a manager who's been here before and done it before. Now, if somehow Graham Arnold gets out of this group with Iraq, give the guy a lifetime contract immediately for Graham Arnold. What I do worry for Iraq, though, is they have not faced competition like this in forever, it seems like, nowadays, because they play 21 games in Asian World Cup qualifiers. So how will they do going up against a high attacking team like France, to Norway, to a Senegal side that, well, for some people they won the AFCON, and some people say they lost the AFCON final. There are incredible sides. I do worry for Iraq, but I really don't think it matters. It
Yeah,
really doesn't matter.
that's what I was gonna say. I think Iraqi fans are just, that is the biggest thing, is getting that monkey off their back to qualify, because there was so much pressure for, like, they were like, oh my god, we could finally do it. We haven't been to a World Cup in forever ago. And I think the fact that they qualified was this, like, was their World Cup in a sense. It's just like, we are so pumped to be, and we've seen this with many national teams. When that is the case, sometimes they play off of that, and that can come together to be a moment of success, that moment of magic, the moment to get 1 point, maybe to test Norway, hey, maybe to keep a clean sheet against Holland or beat Senegal. Like, these are all things that we could see from Iraq here. I don't think they'll get out of this group, as sad as it is, but I think that's the
I don't think so either.
that's the fun part though for Iraq, is they're playing with house money, and we have seen Costa Rica do it in a World Cup. That's all I'm going to leave it off to. Not saying that, alluding to anything, but we have seen crazier things happen before.
I mean, and they got Ayman Hussein, they got Al Hamadi as well up front. They have some decent strikers, but you have not faced competition like this. You have not. So you're going through the gauntlet. Let's see if they can survive.
Now, Group J, which features Jordan, Asian Cup finalists, the biggest underdogs in the recent Asian Cup, and I would say the biggest underdogs in the AFC right now. And they are in a group with Argentina, Algeria, and Austria. I said, even though I know it has been confirmed recently that Al Naimat is not going to be playing in the World Cup, which is a big blow for them, I still think Jordan could be the dark horse from the AFC at this World Cup, because I still think they could get out of this group.
Really? You think they can get out of this group?
Yes, I do.
I would still be shocked if Jordan do it, because while they have Altamari, who just scored a ridiculous goal against Lyon. Oh my God, Altamari is just such a baller. And they have Olwan, and they have a very good attack, and Al-Airab, Hasib in the defense. Like, Jordan have a good team. What I do worry is I don't think they have the best midfield. And now you're going up against a very good midfield of Austria, who just basically play four midfielders in their lineup, to Algeria with a guy like Ibrahim Maza, and obviously Argentina. I don't know how Jordan are going to do defensively. They cannot outscore these teams. That's while Iran can do that against Egypt and New Zealand, you cannot outscore Argentina, you cannot outscore Algeria, and you definitely cannot outscore Austria. So while Jordan, they could probably score 2 goals, I can guarantee you they'll probably concede 2 goals just from a cross, and then just some wonderful combination play from Algeria or somebody like that. So yes, Jordan, they can score goals. I just worry about how many they will leak at this World Cup, and that's a big weakness for them.
Yeah. For me, it's kind of the similar sentiment of what we talked about with Iraq, but as well kind of how we talked about with Japan. They're an unknown quantity. I don't think a lot of people are rating Jordan, but like, no one really at AFC was rating Jordan at the Asian Cup. They weren't even rating them in qualifying, and they still were able to make it to an Asian Cup final. They were able to almost take South Korea's #1 spot. Like, no one thought they were going to be a shoo-in, automatically qualify for this World Cup, but they did do that. And I think they have, interesting X factors, like you talked about, on their team. And I think Algeria, yes, they're not as bad as they used to be. I think they're back on a little bit of a rise. I still think they're a giant that is still wounded. I think Austria are not they have a lot of imperfections that I think Jordan can expose them for, and yeah, Argentina, that one I'm not gonna talk about because I don't think it's gonna end well, but I think there's a prime opportunity for them here to get out of this group, be it most likely in a 3rd place spot. I genuinely think they could make that happen.
They're definitely going to be underestimated, and I
Yeah.
think a lot of people around the world just are not familiar with Jordanian football at this moment in time. And I mean, for this generation of players, this is it. It almost feels like. Obviously, in 2030, some of them will be a little bit older, like about 32, 33. But this is it. This is their prime moment. So they could definitely stun Austria or Algeria. I wouldn't rule that out, but I'm just worried about them defensively.
I mean, I've said it and I'll keep going on it. I'm dying on this hill. Jordan will be the dark horse from AFC at this World Cup with Australia. Those are my two calls.
If Al Naimat was fit, I would say yes, but God, he got that ACL injury. Such devastating news.
I know, but I still think they have enough attack. This is what I said too, because I at that point, even when I talked about it, he was still doubtful. Like it wasn't. It was still not 100% confirmed. I still think they still have enough. Like, in a sense too, maybe it gives them a little bit of motivation to do something. To hey, he wasn't able to make it. Let's make it happen for him. He's done so much for us. I don't know. I think a lot of these mental factors, the way you think, the way you approach things, do play a part in
Yes,
World Cups.
agreed.
And so yeah, that's where I will leave that one off with. But again, I'm high on Jordan's national team and I'm going to stick with it. I'm going to stick with my guns here on that. And now to conclude, the last group, we all can breathe. We all can say thank God. This is the end. Uzbekistan's group, Group K, with Portugal, DR Congo, and Colombia. Am I slightly crazy to say, and I hate saying it, I actually don't have a lot of hope for Uzbekistan in this group.
Well, yeah, with the Portugal and Colombia, no, I don't think they got
But
a
even with DR
prayer.
Congo,
No, I think they have an opportunity against DR Congo because those guys cannot score more than one goal. So it will be interesting to see how Uzbekistan, who have always sort of been that dark horse team in Asian football, how will they translate it now to the sort of international stage and going up against a side like DR Congo and Colombia and Portugal? I'm really fascinated because we know this team have always had potential, and now I think it's about to start the train of Uzbek football, really taking it to the next step because they have a lot of good youngsters coming through as well, and their national youth national teams perform exceptionally well at Asian Cups and World Cups. So I think for Uzbekistan, a positive is you're here. That was the monkey off the back that always was against this national team is that they couldn't do it in the pressure moment. They got that. They have good players. Obviously, Husnov, you have a Galish Mordov, you have Faisulayev, Oronov, like a lot of good players. The midfield does worry me because DR Congo have a very good midfield. Colombia have a very good midfield. Portugal have, you could probably say, the best midfield at this World Cup. If Cannavaro does deploy sort of that back five formation and plays with those two midfielders, how are they going to cope against these sort of teams? That's my big worry here for Uzbekistan. But I think they got an opportunity against DR Congo. While I would predict that game to be a draw.
yeah, that was gonna be what I was gonna say from my biggest worry. That's why I'm a little bit worried about them in this group is the physicality. How Portugal, Colombia, DR Congo could just overpower Uzbekistan. Because as someone that, football heritage loves the Iran-Uzbekistan rivalry that they constantly have and see them play all the time. That's the one thing Iran has is they have some of that fit, not to this like to the high-end talent of like the Colombias and Portugals, but I saw how much Uzbekistan struggled with it. Almost in a sense, we're scared of it. And that's where I'm like, oh, okay, well, if you thought Iran was bad, this is a whole nother level. And like you said, like they've been on this rise, Uzbekistan. This is their moment in the sun. And I think in some sense, they will take some of these opportunities and their fans will show up for it. I just think sometimes that pressure and that limelight might be a little too much for them. In a sense, I feel like they need to take one step back to have two steps forward. This World Cup might not end well for them, but I don't think it's going to be remotely the end. Like they will be in the next World Cup again. But in a sense, maybe things need to pan out where it doesn't go entirely well, and then they learn from that and they approach things differently. And I think the big thing is yes, you have some creative talent, Shomorodov, Kusanov, these type of players, but geez, I'm really worried about how they're gonna like, 50-50s match up against these national teams. And yeah.
But I wish the best to Uzbekistan. I hope they do well. But I think 2030, that's when you can have some expectation for this team.
What would be your positive for Uzbekistan when you look at this group?
I feel like they can compete in a way that they will pose a threat going forward. With a guy like Uranov and Faisalayev with his combination play and creativity, and Shmordov, look, Portugal don't have the best defense.
That's what I was going to say.
Colombia don't have the best defense. You can almost argue that DR Congo are going to be the most difficult team to score against. So Shmordov, while he's had a lot of experience in Europe, and he's a gunman for Uzbekistan, he's got to show up at this World Cup. If he can show up, that will help the likes of Uranov to obviously a guy like Faisalayev then really create and be that danger man edge of the box. So, and Cannavaro's experience in World Cups, he's won it. Let's see if that experience is going to help this team.
Yeah, I mean, I completely agree with you. The thing is, it's funny. I look at I don't know why. I look at DR Congo against Uzbekistan. And I just don't see it ending well for Uzbekistan. But I see the game against Portugal, and I feel like, I don't know why, but I feel like Uzbekistan could do something with guys like Uranov, who we've seen. I mean, obviously, it's Egypt versus Portugal we're talking about here, but pull out moments of magic and just absolutely destroy a defense. And Fazulayev, who can bring something out of his pockets in matches. And so I look at that game against Portugal for Uzbekistan. I'm just like, I think they could do something a little sneaky there where they pull something out of the hat. But the game against Congo, I think, is just, sadly, it's a matchup that I think really suits Congo a lot. And that's
I think that game is going to be 1-0 for either team. It's not going to be a lot of goals scored in that game.
So yeah, boys and girls, that's going to conclude today's video. But as I always say at the end of every single video, mine and Michael's opinion only matters so much. Let us know your guys' thoughts in the comments down below. Do you guys agree or disagree with any of our takes throughout the video? Let me know your guys' thoughts. Don't forget to smash the like button on this video. And we are on the road to 6,000 subscribers before the World Cup starts. So I know with your guys' help, we can reach that goal. And I have countless other fantastic videos on my channel, so don't stop watching now. Go check out this video next, as the YouTube algorithm specifically recommended this video next for you all to watch. Click over here as I post content weekly on the channel and you don't want to miss it. But boys and girls, I hope you'll have a lovely day.